Plotty. What happened?
The program specifically designed to scan for data singularities was detected by the network's firewall and is temporarily unusable. Therefore, I can't provide you with the exact location of the data singularity this time.
Huh?
I told you before, data singularities in the surface layer are a type of error or loophole in the system. So in order to find singularities like this, the program essentially acts as an attack on the network. I've only used this program on the network twice, but its firewall has already identified it as a source of attacks and will counterattack whenever I activate it. For that reason, I don't have a way to locate data singularities right now.
And so?
There are certainly other singularities within the network, but you'll need to find them yourself this time. You're quite familiar with the surface layer now, right? Have you noticed any distinctive features?
The coordinates for the last two data singularities happen to be where the omnium reactors were located in the surface layer. Maybe there's some sort of connection between the two?
I'm not talking about that. It's the similar data fluctuations that might indicate a weakening in the firewall's functions.
I'm not sure about that. The only real similarity between the last two operations is that we had to use omnium reactors that existed on the surface layer. If we locate the next reactor, we might also find a new data singularity there.
That's a bold assumption, Authorizer. If you're right, it might revolutionize our entire understanding of the surface layer. Here's an example. Research revealed that attacks on the foundational layer by viruses led to anomalies in Ada's surface layer. That's why, after you eradicated the viruses, the surface network's aberrations vanished.
If your theory holds, then a data singularity's surface coordinates should align with a foundational layer vulnerability, rather than being tied to a fixed object on the surface layer.
Exactly. If omnium reactors can pinpoint data singularities, it implies that the surface layer's operational logic also impacts the network's foundational layer. This could significantly influence our network's repair strategies.
Understood.
Get moving, Authorizer. If you actually succeed, we'll have a lot of work ahead of us.
Understood. But before I proceed, can you tell me if Hykros has any lab records on omnium experiments, especially those related to reactors from before the Cataclysm? This would help me find them more easily once I enter the network.
Yes, I did find some. After you mentioned what happened on the surface layer, I stumbled upon a few records. I think you'll find them quite intriguing. Once you've gone through these materials, you'll be ready to dive into the network.
Hey Plotty, I looked through those files you gave me. I have some questions about their authenticity.
These are all official reports from Asperia's media and the Federation. Even if the events aren't perfectly aligned with the facts, the conclusions are verified as true.
But if everything in these files is true, does that mean I've already altered the history that was meant to unfold within the network? If so, will everything still play out as it did in Ida's real history?
There's a flaw in your reasoning. It's precisely because the network's history is immutable that the events recorded in these files are destined to occur. I showed you these files to remind you not to waste any more energy on the surface layer than absolutely necessary. Or have you already forgotten about Shirley?
Of course not.
You're finally here, researcher! Check out the fruits of my latest and greatest research on Aurora Industries. It took 3 days of non-stop work, but it's finally done.
Actually, she just rummaged through the old box and gathered all the intel from Wednesday. Gray Fox was always urging her to organize it, but she kept putting it off until now.
Absolutely! I fed all the intel from these reports, plus Aurora Industries' public market data, into Gray Fox's decryption terminal. And the AI has already pinpointed several possible hideouts for Gray Fox. Unfortunately, since all this intel was gathered in the past, we can only narrow it down to a few buildings and manufacturing plants under Aurora Industries, as well as some of Lucius's private properties. The rest is up to Officer Roslyn, our guardian angel whose courage, incredible acting, and commitment to justice have empowered her to continue our righteous fight against Chief Wells and his tyranny.
Well, that introduction was super long. In short, I fibbed to Wells that my zeal to nab the thief led me to mess with his plans. That tale earned me a suspension pending investigation, but it gave me ample time to shadow him. I know exactly what you're thinking, but the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. Anka and I have agreed on a secret code, and she can see my location in real time whenever she wants. If anything happens to me, she'll know where to find me.
Our secret code is Siga, 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 Siga.
I've already sent Anka the location Wells often visits when off duty. Hopefully these will help you rescue Gray Fox. Wells is in a meeting with some of Asperia's government officials today. I plan to slip into his office to gather some crucial evidence. Anka, watch your backs out there, and best of luck. Okay, let's go.
Here's the information Rosalind gave me earlier. If you put it all together, there are only 3 places left to investigate. A private villa in Dandelion Coast, an Aurora Industries production plant in Linglong Industrial Park, and an unfinished building in Azure Coast.
We don't have time to investigate all 3 of them. If we want to maximize our chances of saving Gray Fox, we'll have to split up and search. Ace and I will take Azure Coast. You should be pretty familiar with Linglong Industrial Park, researcher. Why don't you and Meryl handle that area?
Actually, through my Hycros connections, I recently discovered that the building in Azure Coast is actually another secret Omnium research center by Aurora Industries.
So Lucius is keeping a huge secret somewhere in that building, and it's most likely connected to Gray Fox. That's what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Then again, we'd be wasting a lot of time if we didn't find her there. Maybe it's better if we cover more ground first?
Researcher is right. To the Public Security Bureau, you're nothing but a group of uncontrollable fugitives. Without me here, they would stop at nothing to hunt down and arrest you all.
Such a hassle. Let's all just head to that coast then.
Is this the place? It's so quiet. I don't think anyone's been here for a long time. Do you really think we'll find Gray Fox here?
It seems there are 2 entrances here. One at the front and one at the back. Should we pair up?
Yes, I think we can cover more ground that way. I'll go with Researcher.
And since when did we put you in charge?
You're the one who suggested splitting up in the first place.
Hey, boss. Don't you want to team up with me anymore? Or are you ditching me for the new researcher?
Anka, once we save Gray Fox, I'll make sure she knows every single thing you've been up to. Every bit of it.
No, wait! Researcher, help me out here! I don't want Gray Fox to chew me out when she's back. Hey, boss, wait up! I don't have a motorcycle!
Check this out. It looks like something or someone was dragged along the ground over here. It's too early to say for sure. Let's just see where the trail leads. Step aside. I know a way to get through. Go take cover. Leave these droids to me. I didn't expect your combat skills to be so sharp, perfectly covering my blind spots. Are you really just a researcher? You're much different than I imagined. Only what I found in your Hykros personnel files. Your past mentors say you're a talented researcher, but often overlook social interactions due to your reserved nature and dedication to research. But the researcher I know is decisive, resilient, and composed under pressure, executing tasks efficiently and never lagging behind. That's because I do. Tell me, what could have happened in such a short amount of time to change you so much? Ever since I came into contact with Wednesday, I've experienced all sorts of things on a regular basis that I never would have encountered in the lab. Maybe that's what made me change so much? I understand that. Major life changes often lead to shifts in personality. And you've certainly faced your share of them since arriving in Hesperia, like falling into a coma or being kidnapped. Now that you mention it, those events feel like they happened ages ago. Honestly, they weren't that big of a deal, so I wouldn't dwell on them. Besides, I never would have met you if they hadn't happened, right? Even a small shift in perspective can help us understand other people a lot better. After my wandering days came to an end and I returned to Hykros, I said something similar to Helena, who cared about me deeply. I'm sure she felt the same way then. You're only comforting me because you don't want me to worry so much about you. That's why you pretend nothing happened, and even make jokes about your painful past to show me how strong you are. Professor Helena told me about you, the daughter of the Lysatria family, who became an orphan overnight, wandering throughout the country while searching for your missing brother. That must have been tough. I didn't expect her to tell you so much about me. She must trust you a lot. Honestly, I can hardly remember my wandering days, or the person I was back then. But losing my brother, that pain, that desperate feeling, I can never forget that. I completely understand. I too lost someone important, and my quest to find her brought me here. I can barely remember who I was when I started this journey. It's like you said, it's impossible not to change after so many experiences. But I think change isn't necessarily bad. Without those experiences, I wouldn't have met so many friends or become who I am today. I know you will, so don't worry too much. I'm sure today's mission will be a success, and Grey Fox will be back with you soon enough. Finding her won't be easy, but the happiness of reuniting will be worth it. The breakthrough Lucius mentioned is most likely File 049. He mistook it for Hykros' research and wants to claim it as his own to help Aurora Industries surpass its competitors. But who exactly is this Aurora guy? Is he really that influential? He must be if someone like Lucius has no choice but to bow his head and ask for his help. The so-called Todd family sounds pretty intimidating too. He's the CEO of Auth Inc., as well as the next in line to lead the Todd family. What? You don't even know basic history? In 2547, the distant beacon encountered an accident midair, forcing the Federation to sacrifice part of the ship's cargo to make a safe emergency landing. This ensured everyone's safety, but led to subsequent material shortages. In order to maintain social order and establish Ida as quickly as possible, the Federation partnered closely with a number of influential families whose fortunes were built on interstellar travel. Let me guess. The Lysaccia and Todd families were among them, right? Correct. My family believes that technology is humanity's guiding light into the future. That's why we invested in cutting-edge technology, including Hykros. The Todd family, however, believes that information rules everything. Many details surrounding the Todd family prior to the age of interstellar travel are difficult to verify. All I can say is that before coming to Ida and establishing themselves as a media giant, the Todd family made their fortune through espionage and trading secrets on the human homeworld. Whether it's espionage, underground deals, or the movement of funds, the Todd family's presence can be felt wherever connections, intel, and money are involved. They're a family of genius entrepreneurs, and their network even extends into the Federation itself. So what's this big job Aurora is doing for Lucius? We'll have to keep digging if we want to find out. Let's go. This document. It's related to File 049's transfer from the Federation Nexus to Asperia. It seems Lucius had been plotting to steal it for a while. I wonder how he managed to get it. You don't need to tell me about Hykros or what they're up to. Now that the Lysaccia family is gone, I'm just a Federation investigator now. But aren't you even a little curious about what's in this file? Lucius wouldn't have gone to such lengths to steal it if he didn't think it contained cutting-edge omnium research. What would it matter if I knew? I'm not a member of the Todd family. I don't know how to exploit valuable information for profit or power. As far as I'm concerned, they're nothing but parasites with an obsession for money and power. Though they weren't directly involved in the Lysaccia family's destruction, they definitely contributed to it, and even benefited greatly from it. He was still just a student when it all happened, so he had nothing to do with my family's downfall. But Tepin Todd, his father and the true head of the Todd family, is another story. Tepin is an extremely cunning and profiteering man who knows how to maximize his interests while ensuring his own security. When the Lysaccia family was destroyed, he was able to convince the court that he was innocent of any wrongdoing. He wasn't directly involved, so I can't use legal means for revenge. Confronting him would only threaten the life Victor and I have now. But one way or another, he's going to pay for that.